Hello, everyone, and welcome to Silver Tears Tarot. It is always so good to have you here. So, coming up, we've got a full moon on September 10th, and it's going to be full around 5 p.m. where I am. And one thing I always know about the full moon is that I am going to feel it. So, actually, I start feeling it a few days out as it ramps up. So, this is a reading that I've absolutely been looking forward to. And so one person had asked me why I was planning to do a full moon reading, and so I guess it goes back to when I was thinking about what I wanted to do for this channel, and I wanted to do readings that mattered for me, you know. Um, I just feel extraordinarily connected to the moon. So as we go into this one, it's an all signs reading. I mean, they all are. And I'm just going to shuffle a little bit and kind of start to get the energy of the collective into the cards. I've done the meditation, but maybe we'll just kind of see what falls out. So a lot of times I'll do this right before I turn the camera on, and it's part of what helps me decide when the time is right to turn the camera on. But today I felt like I already knew it was, so I'm just going to do this part here. But like I was saying, it's an all signs reading. One thing I don't feel especially called to do is to mix a bunch of my astrology with my tarot. Unless, sometimes it just comes out or it's super relevant. But so for that reason, all of my readings are all signs, unless stated otherwise. But so I put all signs in the title just so that people would know for sure. So I like to think about what I might do in the future, I guess. And the future of this channel is, of course, wide open. And thinking about it, other than the moon, I think I'll probably do some monthly updates, and, we'll have readings when there are big events coming. And of course, right now I'm still doing some special requests and just readings that want to come out, like that one earlier this week. So there are a couple of readings out there actually that you may want to check out. I can't believe nothing's coming out of this deck. It's not ready to talk just yet. But I would just say, if you're drawn to the channel, you may also be drawn to some of the messages that came in earlier this week. So maybe check into it. The audience is really small right now, so it ends up being a little bit like a free personal reading, And of course, I should say it now. I have to mention that this is a general reading that I'm doing for the collective. There we go. It may not resonate with everyone, but whenever you're finding this, I hope it resonates with you. And maybe we can help you get some clarity and a better view on what's going on in your world. So I just had the Hierophant pop out. And this isn't the reading. This is just kind of giving us the feel for the reading. This one's interesting. So the Hierophant, it's about, in this case, it has that feel of tradition about it. And so we have the Empress in reverse, which is giving off that feeling of development that has not yet happened. So it's kind of like an unbalanced Empress. So there's work to do there. Maybe change that needs to occur. Feel that. We'll just maybe let another card fall out. All right, and so we have the Six of Rods, which is like the Six of Wands. So ultimately, it's really positive. And this is just kind of a pre-reading. It's the reading before the reading, but we've got some tradition that we need to consider, some growth that needs to happen, and some success that's going to happen in the back end. And remember, this is all during the course of this full moon. So it's going to be the energy ramping up to it, and it's going to be the energy as we kind of move away from it. So I guess let's go ahead and get started on the real reading. And you know, the first card that, I love this spread so much. The first card that comes out, I like to use as the reason for the reading. Okay, so I love this spread because I can give it just a few parameters, and then, you know, you never know what's going to come out after that. It could be anything, and I love that. All right, so we have me spilling my cards all over, but we have Justice in reverse. And for those of you who don't know, I always take like just the top card, and then I let the rest of them go unless I'm called to do otherwise. So we've got the Justice card in reverse. So something isn't right and needs to be rectified. That is the reason for this reading. And really kind of what I feel off of this card is it's just that something's not right. Something has been left out of balance that needs to be put back into balance. And so maybe this is just a personal situation, maybe, you know, with the full moon coming up. And, you know, maybe let's back up a little bit because, I mean, what do we know about this harvest moon? So, well, it's the harvest moon. It's a full moon in Pisces. And it's a bringer of change, you know, big, vibrant change. So if we've got something here that we know isn't right and that needs to be set right, this could be part of what we're talking about here, you know. So that change can be amazing and refreshing, maybe put you, you know, into a new direction, meeting new people, breaking through some limitations, all of that while being endowed with the emotional strength and confidence to handle it, you know. So I mean, that's kind of the feel of this moon. It's big change. It's big change. But you know, some of the changes could be harder to deal with. You know, let's get the setting for this. Yeah, some of those changes could be a little bit tougher to deal with. We've got 10 of Pentacles, so this one feels like a household. Maybe it's a home, it's a household, there is kind of that feeling of a marriage, and it's not, I don't know if it's formal marriage or if it's just that these folks have been bonded for such a long time that it's very similar to marriage. But we've got that household, and this is kind of what's influencing the reading, and we know that there's something not right, okay, that needs to be set right. So like I was saying, some of these changes could be tougher to deal with. Some of them could be unexpected. They could be unwanted changes. Tensions rise during this moon. So there could be some more sudden or jolting shifts. What is sticking out the most? What is Spirit burning to tell us about this situation? Let's get a card to tell us kind of what is... Okay. The Sun. You'll often hear it referred to as the happiest card in the deck, and that's absolutely what we're seeing here. So there is a great happiness, or well, there is a great happiness that's happening, possible around this household where something is not quite right. So there's a way to set it right. Let's see what else. What else does Spirit want to tell us about the situation? We've got a situation that isn't quite right in a household, but we know, we saw from the pre-reading, I guess, you know, that it was out of balance. Something is out of balance that needs to be set right. We also saw that it would be, so this Sun really corroborates that. But just digging a bit deeper, what else can you tell us about this situation? Did something turn over? No. This deck, by the way, is the Aquarian Tarot. This one I bought at a local shop, and I've been using it pretty heavily ever since. This one I only bought maybe a month ago. So this one's a newer one, newer edition. All right, so... here we have the Six of Rods in reverse. So this is the success that we talked about, and we had even seen this card come up in the pre-reading as, hey, there's going to be success in the future, but it's not going to happen right away. We're not going to have that success right away. There will be a road that gets to it. So there's a portion of it that's hidden, and I guess that's what I'd like to know too. What is hidden in this energy? And of course, we will clarify each of these cards here in a moment. We'll clarify with another deck that I got from the same shop that has been in heavy rotation for, I guess it's probably a little over a year now, whenever I first bought that deck. But what's hidden? What is hidden? Oh, it fell out, and then it fell to the ground upside down. So if it falls out and it comes onto the table, and it's a single card, I'll take it. If it falls onto the ground and it falls face down, it's not for us. I'm sure every reader has their rules, but just to avoid confusion, that's what I do. And then, like I said before, if a bunch of cards come out, I just take the top one. So right now we're looking for kind of that hidden energy. What is there in this situation that Spirit wants to tell us but hasn't really made itself known yet? So there is sadness. Sadness and just, it's pain, heartbreak. This is such a sweet looking card. You know, it's not as painful and heart-wrenching as it looks, even though I guess, you know, with bunch of swords sticking through a heart, maybe that's not so sweet looking. But this is the sadness that's under the surface. So we've got really a very nice household sort of energy here, but something isn't right. Something isn't right. It's going to end well, but not immediately. We've got to get through some heartbreak on the way there. So what actually are we expecting to happen when we get there? What's coming your way? That's more than one. What's coming your way? Well, we've got a decision for you. Someone's going to end up at a crossroads. There may be an opportunity for travel, but again, not unlike reading that I did yesterday. This Two of Rods or Two of Wands is not necessarily going to be physical travel. This could be getting from one concept to another. So this one may be more emotional travel from one place to another, or somebody's going to have to bridge a gap. That's what ends up happening. So someone ends up bridging this gap, which is relevant to this pain. It looks like maybe let's go ahead and start clarifying. I'm curious to understand, first off, what's happening in this situation that is not super positive. What is this? And again, this is the Revelations deck. Really awesome deck. All purpose. Does everything especially well. And I just dropped some of them. So it starts out with the Ten of Swords. As I put my card deck back together, this is the Ten of Swords in reverse. And really, that's pain that came from the past that you're over. That it's coming back to impact you. Something's not quite right. So maybe you got over a situation, but it's not done throwing curves for you. And we're going to see some adjustment in that during this period of the full moon. Okay, and so we have the Tower in reverse also. So what's been going on here is something not being right, ostensibly in this household. And it's around a pain that you've more or less gotten over, but maybe you haven't gotten past it completely. You know, there's a situation here that hasn't been faced. This Tower in reverse is all about a problem or an upheaval, an emotional upheaval that has been avoided or has not been faced. So something's not right and it's just been swept under the carpet. Let's see what's happening in this. Now, this is just one card. Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so we have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So something's not changing with this family situation, but it needs to. And then we have the Magician. So somebody's actually going to get the impetus together to do something in their family situation that is going to help to change it. Um, and the issue that they've been having is, so sometimes the energy to make a change comes from within you, and sometimes it comes from outside of you. And so the Wheel of Fortune is that energy that's coming from outside of you that helps you, it helps to push you into the next thing. It helps to move you along. But the Magician is really this manifestation energy that's coming from you. So it's from within. It's more like, it reminds me more of the Chariot in that way, but the manifestation energy inherent in the Magician is really strong here. So sometimes it's, you have, the tools that you need. And yes, you have the tools that you need to make things better in your household. But it's really coming from your own manifestations and not so much from things that have changed around you. So let's learn a little bit more about this sun. I'll be curious to learn a little bit more about this happiness that is implicit here. So it's the Ten of Cups in reverse, but what I get off of that one is, so the Ten of Cups can be a very a dreamy sort of card, and it can be a sense of, so it can be really, really happy, but it can also be dreamy and kind of like a mirage and not even really there. And so this is one of the things that's cool about this is the dreaminess is going to fall away and the reality will start to come through, and this is going to yield something very positive. It's almost like somebody's walking away from a household where things aren't right, but they haven't been faced, and they're finally finding the energy and the ability to take things into their own hands, because maybe there hasn't been as much support coming from the universe and saying, let's go ahead and move you forward. And so this person that I'm reading for is taking the opportunity to move things forward for themselves. They're going to move toward happiness, but it's not going to be a dreamy and uncertain sort of happiness. Let's see what else we've got here. Oh, okay. So we've got the Ace of Cups, which again, similar to the last time I saw the Ace of Cups fall out in a live reading, is feeling like a door that is not open. So this is a door. It's relevant to emotion, but this is a door that is not open and has actively been closed. So it's closing a door on a situation that is high in the fantasy, but not necessarily delivering much in the reality. And it's going to result in happiness. But remember, we first had to get across something else that was happening here, that we weren't going to have that happiness and success right away. So let's learn a little bit more about this. I see the story is starting to come together. Okay, so that is the Three of Cups, and this is really about emotion flowing, the flow of emotion, and it's not happening here. This is emotion that is not flowing, and that's part of why there isn't immediate success. Okay, and it's that Nine of Pentacles. So we've got, and Judgment as an honorable mention. So that card didn't want to come out, but it absolutely wanted to show itself. All right, so for this situation, what I was really, what we were looking at was, tell us a little bit more about this situation, because we had just seen that this is going to result in happiness, and it just wasn't going to happen right away. So as we look at it, it's not going to happen right away because there is a lack of flow of emotion here, and because really it's like the Nine of Pentacles in reverse is a not having it together sort of card. So somebody doesn't have it together. They're not really ready for this. And there's no flow of emotion. So there's no vulnerability that happens here. There is something that has to happen, that is truth coming out, that is emotion being shared. And here I don't see anything about truth or communication. I see rods, which are like wands, and that's that fiery sort of that fiery sort of experience. It's everything around fire, and we've got cups, which are, all about the emotion of it. Pentacles, which bring us into the 3D, but there are no swords here. So it's that communication. It's in this case what's not here, and it's that communication is lacking. So we also asked about the hidden energy. So tell us a little bit about this bridge that a person would need to cross. And Three of Swords came out. So that's one I wanted to clarify a little bit and just understand why the Three of Swords. So we have the Seven of Cups, and it's the confusion Seven of Cups. So there is pain, sadness, maybe even a little bit of regret, but it's pain and sadness, and it stems around this confusion relevant to this Seven of Cups and this just sort of not, it's very relevant to this card here. So this Ten of Cups, where we were seeing that it was that dreamy sort of not really there sort of Ten of Cups. So you eventually walk away from this thing that's not really there, and you know that's part of the dreaminess and the confusion that occurs there, because we're seeing it down here again. Let's see what else comes out for that Three of Swords. Okay, we got the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, and this is emotionally just stopping. So the pentacles are movement. Knight of Pentacles is a slow moving, slow, methodical, steady sort of energy. And in the reverse like this, what I'm really getting is like a full stop, but it's also based on, not being reliable. So there's a sadness that's going to force this Tower to come out. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we've got unhappiness. We're going to look into this unhappiness and the situation that is happening here with the Justice in the reverse and the Tower in the reverse. We're going to look into that in the extended reading because we don't have time for it here. That's going to be something that we look at. But then this, I almost think maybe this. So this is the bridge that helps to get us between, where we are now across, hey, it doesn't work immediately, all the way to it does eventually work. And it's because you've had to walk away from something. It's because that thing is unreliable. It's confusing. So maybe we learn a little bit more about that. And then we've got this decision in your future, this crossroads that you're coming to. Let's learn a little bit more about that, because remember, this is just across that full moon time frame. So there will be continuation of your story beyond this. But it looks like you end up really having, oh, here we go. We end up really having that manifestation energy and that ability to take things into your own hands and just say, okay, what is happening? What needs to happen? How do I enact it? And how do I get past this situation where maybe we need to do some change, but it's not happening? Because like I was saying before, this is a moon that shows you some change. And so, you end up at a crossroads. And one of the things that you're going to realize is you've just not been being given your due. So this Six of Pentacles is all about that. It's all about, not having, it's in reverse, and it's all about not having equal give and take. And here we've got the Hermit in reverse, and this is you realizing it, and kind of, you've had a little bit of time to think about it, and now you're sitting at this crossroads realizing I've got to go ahead and break the silence. I've got to do something about this thing that doesn't feel like things are right. So we'll look a little bit more at that, like I was saying, in the extended. But I guess I have a couple of questions. I would want to understand a little bit more about this bridge, and then maybe even a little bit more about where you're going. But maybe let's look at that. So let's get you a little bit of advice. And this is from the Sacred Destiny Oracle. It is a tried and true, trusty oracle, and if you stick with me for a while, you'll probably see me pull it out a lot. Really great images. Really great messages just come popping off the cards. It's very nice when you just need advice that can be pretty honest, can get a little deep on you. But if you're ready to hear it, it's a great deck for that. It's also pretty, it's gentle for as honest as it is. Maybe it's one of my more diplomatic but honest oracle decks. And I say that, I'm not sure that I've got dishonest oracle decks. I just have some that will sometimes present the answer in a way that you weren't prepared to think about. Not always bad, but this one can get on people's level. So let's see what comes out as just the general advice across this time of the full moon. Lots of shuffling. All right, patience. And here's me complaining about all the shuffling. So actually, let me go ahead and pick that one up for you. You take a look at it. So this patience card, it has these really mellow, sort of warm colors on it. And, you know, I would encourage you to look across this spread, and we can see where some of that comes out in the Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Pentacles, even in the Wheel of Fortune and kind of those golden colors. So we need to have some patience around the fact that the universe is not necessarily moving us forward or providing the path. Have some respect for that and some understanding that this manifestation energy that's coming from you, it's not coming too soon, but make sure that you spend your time wisely in the thinking cave, because when it comes time for you find yourself in this crossroads and you realize that it's time to break the silence, you want to make sure that you're breaking it in the right way that's going to help you out. And so one of the things that we see here is almost a false start where, you know, maybe you're not ready, don't have it together yet. And maybe it's you as a group or you as a couple or, you know, that sort of thing. But it's definitely something to think about, just that there may be some patience required in this. And the thing is, I get the sense that you feel like you've already been quite patient. And I would say maybe this is more patience with yourself, and it's a different type of patience. Let's see if there are any more messages that Spirit wants to give you. Just anything else that wants to come out. Okay, we have that Empress in reverse again, and I'm going to put it right over here with this patience card. So the Empress in reverse, if you recall, came out in that reading at the very beginning where I was just sort of pulling cards to get the feel for things, and we discovered that there was something traditional, there's this marriage, there's this household, that there was an imbalance. So this one is reminding us about that imbalance. And here we saw there was something wrong, and it's really just not being addressed. We saw that it would end up well, it would end up good. It's going to be a good thing, but it's not going to be immediate, because first you have to come across this bridge that's a kind of a difficult place, and it lands you in a crossroads where you realize you have to break the silence. So let me maybe get a bit of a clarifier for this Empress in reverse here. And so we've got the Nine of Cups here, and that one's about fulfillment. It's about wish fulfillment. And, you know, this is a situation where someone went for something that they believed they wanted. It was traditional. It seemed right at the time. It looked great on paper. But then maybe as they get farther along, they realize things don't get resolved. This doesn't feel right. I want this success. I'm willing to do what has to happen in order to get there. And then I'm willing to break the silence and be strong about it. But it's going to be, it's going to have to be because you're going toward your own happiness. And here comes the Moon in reverse, which feels very much like that energy of breaking the silence once again. It's the mysteries coming out and just kind of more being revealed. So don't forget this patience piece, though. I'm going to pull this one out and put it back where you can really see it, because the patience piece is super critical. You don't want to come in too early. And it's going to be a little bit of a long game. So remember that you're crossing this bridge to get to a good place. You're going toward your dreams, but you're going to have to actually come over here and do the work at the crossroads, calling this out and forcing this tower to turn upside down, or to turn right side up, I guess, because when it's in the upright, this is things changing and things blowing apart. Maybe not like your whole life blowing apart, but maybe just some concepts blowing apart and being forced to make some changes. So overall, for this moon, I would just say, we know that it is a moon that brings intense change. Um, we know that some of those changes could be a little bit tough to deal with, and we know that you're going to need patience to work through them overall. So, right away, you can tell from just what you're seeing here, your job is going to be to kind of roll with it and stay somewhat flexible. You're going to want to be a little bit open minded and bring almost an adventurous sort of attitude to it. You may have opportunities to turn something not so great into something great. So I think from here, I'll go ahead and move over to the extended where we'll take a look at maybe some of the details behind what we saw in this reading. And so if you're coming over there, then fantastic. I'll see you there. If not, then I would just say thank you so much for being here with me. I hope that this resonated with you, and I would be happy to see you in the extended. But of course, in the meantime, please like, share, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. And I'll see you next time.